Hi, today I'm going to talk about a camera that I really enjoy. I'm going to talk about the Lomo LCA. This is a camera I've owned for about 4 years now, and not only would I say it's my favorite point and shoot, I would say it's probably one of my top 5 35mm cameras ever. I really love this camera, and today I'm going to talk about why it's such a special camera to me. The LCA is a fixed lens camera. It has a leaf shutter and it works on zone focus. It was first introduced around 1984, and the original model was discontinued in 2005. The LCA Plus was introduced in 2006, and at that time production of the camera moved from Russia to China. The only automatic feature on this camera is the exposure. Everything else is manual. The shutter speed runs from 2 minutes to 1/500th of a second, and metering is done through a CDS light meter. The exposure can be programmed auto or manual with a fixed shutter speed. Right there on the side you can see the various settings: automatic or 2.8 all the way up to f16. On the other side here we see the focus, and as you can see it runs from 0.8 meters all the way up to infinity. So there's 4 choices there. It has a Minotaur 1 lens, a 32mm lens, which I'll talk more about in a moment. But basically it's just a really fun camera. There's a lot of debate about this camera. Some people feel it's a toy camera, and other people say it's way too nice to be considered a toy camera. In my opinion, it's maybe a little bit of both. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's a Minotaur 32mm f2.8 lens. And it does have a flash. It's hot shoe only, and it features something called rear curtain flash sync, which I wasn't really too familiar with before I owned this camera. Basically it's a feature where the flash goes off just before the shutter closes, and that can really give you some interesting effects. On the front there is the setting for the ISO. What else? Oh, to open the back you simply lift up on the film rewind lever, and there you go. And you can see the inside of the camera, the CCP logo up there by the viewfinder. And yeah, just a really simple, nice little camera. It's never let me down. Basically, also there's a battery check light. I'll see if I can show you here. If you look in the viewfinder, oh, I have to open the lens first. There we go. And if you look in the back there, you'll see 2 red lights. Basically the left light is your battery check light, and the right light comes on if there is insufficient lighting. And I learned that basically if the camera senses that the shutter speed has to be 1/30th of a second or slower, that's when that red light comes on. So it's a nice little feature of this camera. Your exposure counter is right up there, and that's pretty much it. Basically it takes, in terms of batteries, it takes 3 S76 batteries. S76 are also known as LR44. I've also heard that this camera is very close to the Cosina CX2, which I've never used, but judging from pictures I've seen on the internet, they do look very similar. You can find these cameras online fairly easily. I bought mine on eBay for a pretty good price. I think I paid less than $100 for it, and as you can see, it is in pretty good condition. Why do I love this camera? There's lots of reasons why I love this camera. It's small, it's light, it's portable, very consistent, very reliable, just a really fun camera to use, especially if you use it in the automatic mode. Also, I do a lot of shooting in low light, and I will tell you, this camera is a workhorse in low light. I love it. It gives really, really excellent photos in low light situations. Also, this camera is famous for vignetting. If you're a fan of vignetting, this is the camera for you. It gives a very nice vignetting effect. And also, I will say that the Minotaur lens is incredibly sharp. I would go so far as to say I've seen pictures from this camera that in terms of sharpness would challenge the most state-of-the-art digital camera. That might sound like a very grandiose statement, but in all honesty, that's how I feel. I've seen some incredibly sharp photos with awesome contrast taken with this camera. So those are the reasons why I love this camera. Check it out. If you find one secondhand for a decent price, I know you won't be disappointed. Pick one up. And in a moment, you're going to see some photos that I've taken with this camera over the years. And it's definitely one of my favorites. Thanks for watching. See you next time.